Hi everyone, this is Genevieve Plays Rise of Berk, and today we are talking about the Merry Wreath Ruffrunner costume collection. This event only runs for 4 days for writers and 2 days for non-writers. So let's go ahead and get looking at this costume. First of all, the reason I'm doing this is this costume is an awesome boost. That is an almost 50% boost in gathering rates. That's a little messed up. My Ruffrunner is currently at, I forget what level he's at, like 135 or something. So not quite max stats, but still you can see from 17 million wood to 19 million wood. That's a pretty decent wood boost. Let's see, no, that's like 60%. I'm sorry, I'm doing bad math in my head, but that's like a 60% boost. Okay, so anyway, first about collections, I need to make a correction. This hasn't affected all of my collection videos, just the past few, because I confused myself and did not check with people who know better. So the information in my Dart video is not entirely wrong, it's just partially wrong. I hope you still are having a decent time trying to get Dart. Collections are so much easier than explorations. So the way that collections work is that each item has a time cost. Toothless needs to be searching for that minimum amount of time in order to find the item. The time cost works basically for every bag. It doesn't count per search, it only counts per bags. So whether you use 1 or 3 bags, it kind of like adds up across the bag. And I've got a little illustration right after this to show you what works, what happens if you don't get the item and how it works. But basically, whatever time is not applied to one bag is still like counts towards the item and is added to the next. So this is where max items matter. However, each item is programmed to be found in a certain percent of the time. So with RNG, it can be found, 60, 70, 80% of the time. So there is that small percent chance that you may not get the item. So let's look at how this works. So one bag multiplied by the time cost equals the item, or you could get runes, resources, or even an egg, because these items are on searches that produce eggs normally, and so it might have to produce an egg because it's met the max bag cost for producing an egg. So you could get the item or something else. So what happens is if the bag times the time cost does not produce the item, then that time is not lost. It's saved and it's added into the next bag. So then what can happen is in the next bag, you'll actually get 2 of the items. So the time cost is met plus an additional time cost, provided that you're doing the right searches for efficiency, and the time cost is met, then you might get 2 items, all right? If, however, you still don't get items in the next bag, it is yet again saved for the following bag, which means for items that have a max beyond 2, which are most of them, you could get 3 or 4, and this can work ad nauseum. Usually it's capped at 4. I've rarely seen a max items of 5. That's a much easier collection where there are much more items needed for that. So that's basically how it works. So I was mistaken in thinking that the max items meant, oh, you could randomly get up to 3 or 4 items in a bag. No, it just means that the game can save up to 3 or 4 items in a bag, but you still have to meet the time cost to get that number of items in the bag. So my optimistic time was entirely mistaken. So when we actually look at the items, it'll make a bit more sense. I will also say that it gets a bit stickier when the searches don't meet the time cost. You don't need to worry about that right now, because for this collection, there was a search that exactly meets the time cost for each of the items, so this is a very easy collection. Before I go on to the collection itself, these are the things I'll talk about. Each item has a certain number of items you need, the time cost, the chance for getting the item, and then I will show you the total time, which is the absolute minimum time with a little bit of flexibility because the game is not perfect with giving you items every time. Note on costumes, alpha costume does not negatively affect the time cost. The original time length is the amount of time that goes towards the item time cost. You just get to search for it faster. Also, Snoggletog, we're not sure exactly how it works. We can't really view that in action. But I think it affects chance, maybe. But I've also think maybe that it gives me like 1 or 2 more items. So I'm not sure if it's chance or like max items or what it is. But it does make it a little faster to complete by getting more items more often. About other collections, we are working on it. Andrew is really working hard on finding all those times and everything. We only have some of them right now. Anyway, so this is the costume. 2-day events usually don't have a whole ton of items. This one only has 3 items and 18 total between the 3. It's also a cheap costume if you feel like skipping it, and you've got 5,000 runes to spare, but this collection is only a few hundred runes to do, so may as well just do it. Oh, I should clarify. Okay, so I'm doing them from hardest to easiest this time, so do them in this order. I finally remembered to put them from hardest to easiest, so do them in the following order. That is my recommendation. Alright, so this is the hardest. The time cost is 4 hours for the 5 items that we need, and there's a chance of 60%, which means that almost half the time you won't get the items, and it will only hold up to 2. The good news is there is a 4-hour search. Now the 2-hour search is also okay, but the 4-hour search is really best because the time cost is 4, so it is going to fit in evenly. However, because of the chance, it is going to take a while to get it. So you need a minimum of 20 hours. This is not real hours. This time here is the total time across however many bags you send. So if you feel like doing 1 bag for this one, I don't recommend it, but it will take you at least 20 hours, but because the chance is 60%, it may take longer. So remember with this chances, okay, the first search you may not get it, but the second search you may have 2. Like if you get 1, you'll probably get 2, and so on and so forth, but you're never going to get more than 2 on this one. So it's a little sticky, so we can say at minimum it will take you 20 total hours, but maximum we're not sure. So looking at the cost, this is my rough estimate, and I checked with Andrew and he okayed all this. So I'm not giving you bad information this time. So with using the 4-hour search, if you use 2 bags, it will take you no less than 75 runes with 2 bags. But that is only 24 hours, and so you may not get it. It may take an extra search with 2 bags, so that's 75 to 100 runes for that. So that is total like 24 to 32 hours of game time. For you in real time, that would be 12 to 16 hours. If you want to send 3 bags, that will take you, this is 2 to 3 searches, because with 3 bags you've already met the time cost 3 times on 1 search, so 2 times you'll have met it 6 times with 2 searches, and with 3 searches you'll have met it 9 times. I think it is a bit much. Probably won't need to send it for a third 3-bag search. So for example, if you don't get it in 2 3-bag searches, or even in 2 4-bag searches, because I'm just being pessimistic just in case. I don't want to say, oh yeah, you'll absolutely get it in 2 searches with 3 bags. There's no way to guarantee that. So if you don't get it in 2, 3, or 4-bag searches, you've definitely met the time cost for all 5 items. You just ran into a bad case of chance. So you just need to send another 1 or 2 bags, or even on a smaller search, and then that should conclude it. But you don't need to spend the runes or the time on an entire another 3 or 4-bag search. You could probably even just send the 2-hour one on a 2 or 3-bag search and you'll be fine. So that is how to run this item. Run 4 hours, and I would actually just recommend to go ahead and spend the 3 bags. And if you don't get it within 2 3-bag searches, run another 1 or 2-bag search and you should be fine. And even a 2-hour one will probably get it done for you. Alright, so for this one, we also need 5 items. The time cost is 3 hours. The chance is a little better at 70%, max items 3. So because the time cost is 3 and the item count is 5, you need a minimum of 15 hours searching, but because of the chance, you may not necessarily get it in every bag. Because of the 3-hour time cost, ignore the other searches. The 3-hour search is perfect. You don't need anything else. So every bag meets the time cost. If you use 2 bags, then you'll meet the time cost twice every time you go. So for 5 items, it'll take you 3 to 4 searches to get all of them. So 60 to 80 runes. If you want to use 3 bags, you can probably get them all in 3 searches. You met the time cost 3 times. So if you use 3 bags, you meet the time cost 3 times per search. It will not take you more than 3. You may take you only 2. But if you don't get all of them in 2, you can save some runes on the last search, even maybe by doing one of the shorter searches. That is one strategy that you can use. So, but if for some reason you don't get it in the shorter search after those 2 bags, just run another one. But so for this one, run the 3-hour search using 2 or 3 bags. And if you still need like 1 left, then you can run the shorter search, but the 3-hour is the most efficient overall. I don't think you need to spend the 114 on it. That seems a bit much, but again, this is still cheap. I mean, that is still less runes than one full bag search on an exploration event. So keep that in mind. This is very cheap overall. Okay, so let's look at the last one. This is the easiest. The time cost is 2 hours and we need 8 of them. Much better chance on this one. Max items 4. This is like a typical easy item one. So it'll take you at minimum 16 hours. Remember, this is a Kraus bags. This is not necessarily real time. And because there's a 2-hour search, I recommend you stick to that 2-hour search. So looking at the cost, remember, if you run 2 bags, you've met the time cost every time. So with 2 bags, you have met the time cost twice already, so it will take you 5 to 6 searches. I doubt it'll take you 6, but probably 5. I don't know for certain. I don't want to make claims I can't back up. If you are using 3 bags, it will take you no less than 3 searches, but no more than 4. And then with 4 bags, this is probably the best out of all 3 items as far as saving money on 4 bags. With 4 bags, because the time cost is so small, you'll meet the time cost 4 times, and you may get them in as few as 2 searches, but it might take you 3. Again, if you don't get it in the smallest number, the left-hand number for the 2, 3, 4 bag column, then you can run a few half-hour searches and you should be fine with getting the item. So when we put it all together, okay, sorry the words are cut up. I didn't know how to fix it. So the S's are at the next line. I'm sorry. All right, so I didn't quite do the same kind of calculating where I normally do, where I do a flat out cost. I actually considered the time cost and what searches you're running. So I actually did a little bit more accurately. So if you're running 1 bag, it is like almost possible with ads. It's a little bit more possible if you're doing alpha costume, but remember, you need to sleep for 8 hours per night. So depending on when the event starts and stops in your time zone, this is not really feasible. So you do need to spend a little bit on bags. But even if you were to spend 3 bags, it would not cost you, I did this, I think, on max cost. It wouldn't even cost you 400 runes, but you can still do it with plenty of time with 2 bags and you can save 100 runes. It doesn't even look cheaper with Writer this time because it's such an easy collection. Saving the expense with Writer is more of a thing with bigger collections because you have to run more searches. But for this one, it's definitely cheaper to run with 2 bags even than the Writer 4 bag. I mean, you may get it faster with Writer and that cost is lower. It just depends. It's different for every individual. But with 2 bags, you can definitely get this done for less than 300 runes and definitely on time. Ads will help. Without ads, it says you can do it, but again, remember, you need to sleep. And the longest one of these that you can do overnight is the 4-hour one, so it's nothing huge to like save on overnight. So yeah, there you have it. Alright, this is the deal for Ruffrunner's words are not coming out of my mouth. So this is the deal for Ruffrunner's costume. This is kind of, I spent a little bit more time on this to make sure it was accurate. Consulted with Andrew and all of that. Sorry for name dropping you 6 times. So I hope you should definitely be able to get the item. This starts after Dart is done, so you shouldn't have a conflict between the 2 collections for a non-writer. So good luck. I hope you get it. Thanks for watching. This is Genevieve Plays Rise of Berk, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.